I got you guys. This is like the cutest thing I've ever done. This is like a little butt nose on this little gremlin. Oh, Gizmo's coming alive. Oh, it's adorable. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say it. Okay, how cute that little butt nose is. Ah! Okay, let's go. Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Today we are creating a Tiki statue of Grogu, also known as Baby Yoda. So let us begin. So we start by making the foundation of the Tiki. In order to do this, you have to mold the mesh wire into a cylindrical shape. Mold your sheet on your preferred height and circumference. Then, once you're satisfied with it, you're going to secure it with a wire. Using paper, you're going to sketch the ears, ensuring that each ear is the same shape and size, so they are symmetrical with the entire design of the project. So now it's time to create the feature molds for the ears. You're going to take the ear template that you just created, and you're going to place it against a piece of the mesh. And you're going to cut out the template mesh, and I chose to cut out 1 inch around the outside of the template border because I want the ear to be about 1 inch thick. Then you cut out uniform lengths of slits around the border of the wire mold, and once you're done, you fold the wire slits that you just cut out inward, and you repeat the same process with the back of the ear. Then once you have the mesh for the front and the back of the ear, you line them together and you secure them with a piece of wire. And you're going to repeat the same thing for the other ear, and once you are happy with the size, the height, and the width of each ear, then you attach them to the Tiki with a wire. Alright, now it comes time to work on the collar and everything else and the Tiki. I want to point out that for the body of the Tiki, I chose a wider mesh with bigger openings than the areas that required a little bit more attention. With those, I chose a tighter mesh. And the reason why I did that is because the areas that require more detail are going to require a mesh that is tighter and the concrete doesn't slide and adheres a lot more. So I will have everything in the description. Alright, now comes time to work on the styrofoam, and we are going to shape. With the styrofoam, we're going to shape the collar, and we're going to shape the soup bowl and the little hands. And I chose styrofoam because the piece just gets too heavy if I didn't put anything underneath the wire to fill in some of that space. Also, for the concrete, for the body of the Tiki, I added some fiber just to give the structure more endurance and more durability. And for the rest of the features of the face and everything else, I chose a finer sand for the concrete, and I didn't put any fiber because I find that when you put fiber on the concrete mixture, it doesn't give you a smoother finish than it would without any fiber. You have to keep this three-dimensional, so you know there's levels to, there's dimensions, I should say, to what you're trying to do. So this is going to sit behind the collar, and then the mug sits right between the collar and the sleeve of this robe. You can clearly see what's going on. This is going to be his cup.
And this is his sleeve. Now his little fingers are gonna be coming out of here, which I will cut this down. And this one is fine. They will be coming out of there and grabbing onto the cup that's right here. That concrete is incredibly versatile. It almost turns into like workable clay. So I'll be able to form all of this, his mouth and eyes and everything, and his design up here, all of that is gonna be up there. So this is what we got. I am pretty excited.
All right, now we are moving on to the actual skirt of the robe. And as you can see in the design, the skirt flares out with volume. So we're gonna create that again with the styrofoam. And once we're satisfied with that, we're gonna take some of the wire, and I chose the wider opening on the wire because there's not much detail to this. And I covered each flare individually, and on the back of the collar they come from up higher because of the design, so those are a lot taller, as you can see there. And we finished with these.
Okay, so now comes time to fill the inside of the wired mesh model with paper. I prefer plastic shopping bags, but we don't have any, unfortunately. Mom decided to recycle all of them and we're left with none. However, I do have this paper from my last move, one of my many moves, I should say. And we're gonna use this to fill this bad boy. And yeah, let's go ahead and do that. 3D wire mesh model has been completed, and I filled in the ears as well, so I used less concrete and it isn't as heavy. As you can see, they're starting to look adorable. I put in the top and the bottom. The little paws are coming out from there, and this is where the lip sits, and this is where the bowl of soup sits, which will add a little bit more mesh to it as we continue adding more concrete, because I want the cup to come out and be three-dimensional. But this is what we got so far. I'm super excited and I can't wait to start filling it in. All right, let's go. So I don't know if you've noticed, I started taking thick pancake batter and Play-Doh-like consistency, and with the glove I started shoveling it in through the crevices of the mesh, but my glove kept getting stuck in the mesh and it was just messy, and look at everything in the bottom. So I was like, oh, this is just taking too much product. It's gonna be too heavy and bulky, and it's gonna be back-breaking work. So instead of that, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna make a really soupy, creamy batter, and I'm going to brush it on, and that's what I did, and it was a game changer, my people. It really didn't take much concrete to fill in, and it actually looks a lot smoother than it did with me shoveling it in. Look at how smooth that is. Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So yeah, bottom line, don't shovel, brush. That's the way to go. Alright, let's go.
Now here comes the fun part, which is actually adding the detail to the piece. And as you see, this white substance, that's the acrylic that you mix it with some water and you put it on the foundation, and then you start adding all of the details with the clay-like concrete that you see me speaking about, and that I'm going to have the recipe for in the description. I'm working on his little hands and the rope and the design of the rope. I'm doing that here, and then I'm working on part of the skirt and how it's going to start to flare out. And now we're working on the cup, and like I said, we're adding more volume, so we put some of the mesh and put some paper inside just to form the cup more and to avoid using too much concrete. Fill it in and shape it up like a cup, and then we work on the other sleeve. Do the same thing, give it height by adding more concrete to it and smoothing it out. Again, this concrete is just amazing, and make sure you line it up properly and you measure each design to make sure that they both are equally the same.
Pop quiz. Anybody knows what this fruit is? Delicious. It looks like a booty. A delicious booty. Let me know in the comments if anybody knows what this is and what it's called in your country. In my country of Cuba, it's called mamoncillo.
Okay, after finish working on the arm, it's time to move to the collar, the front collar of the rope, as you see me doing here. And you fill in and you smooth out, and once you're satisfied, you add the design. And here is me adding volume to the skirt and creating that flare-like visual effect. Here I'm working on the left ear, following the design that's in the cup that I purchased. Working on the right ear, doing the same thing. After doing all of that, then here comes the best part of all this. And that is bringing this design to life.
So I realized that the sleeve, end of the sleeve, was too flat and it had zero personality. So I extended it with more wire, as you saw. And then this here, this fold of the sleeve, I wanted to look more natural. So I did this edge as if it was like an actual sweater, you know, or a thick rope. The ends of the rope are very thick, the way they fold in your hand. So that's what I just did. It's me being picky. Honestly, if you guys don't want to do that, that's fine. But you see how easy it is to build onto the piece more with just some wire. Just put wire and concrete over it and it'll adhere to the bottom concrete. And that acrylic is your glue. That's your glue. That's what brings all of this together. That's why I keep using it instead of water. No water. Water, it's not going to make this piece last. Water just crumbles with weather. This acrylic makes this weatherproof. So that's it. I got a couple of more things I'm going to tweak, but I'm pretty satisfied with what I got going on. Oh, by the way, I forgot, I extended the cup just a little bit more over here. That's where it's more realistic, but this is good so far. Now it's time to go feed the turtles. They're literally out there with a little head sticking out like, lady, what's up? Where's our breakfast? We're hungry. So let's go do that. So I'm not focusing too much on the back of the statue because nobody's going to be looking at the back of the statue. However, you still want to cover it and make it look presentable. So if you want to save material and for whatever reason you want to save money, or you just don't feel like going to the store and buy another very heavy bag of concrete, then what you do is you put down some of the acrylic, as I did here. You brush on the acrylic, and then you put a very loose consistency concrete mix on a brush, and you brush this away. And it covers it very nicely, and you save on a lot of material. Now, for you to smooth it out, you're gonna dip your brush in the acrylic and come back, and it'll allow you to smooth out the concrete even more. So that's what I'll be doing to the back of this thing. Not gonna show you, be pretty boring. And here I filled in this collar and I did this swivelly design. So I'm just gonna cover all of this, and I'm gonna cover all of that with this brush, and we'll continue on. Bye.